time has come. For 300 years, we prepared, we grew stronger. While you rested in your cradle of power.
So over the past couple of days, E3 2021 has been trying desperately to stay relevant. Yeah, remember back a few years ago when E3 was pretty relevant? Now it's just kind of faded off in nothingness. A lot of people have just backed out year over year. It's just not as big as it used to be. I remember when it used to be a huge event. Like everything came out at E3. It was probably the biggest event in gaming yearly. Not this year. The Microsoft presentation was pretty good. That's about the only one that I've really enjoyed. Looking forward to today's Nintendo Direct. That's the big one. I'm really hoping for that new Nintendo Switch, whatever they're going to call it. Some Zelda news, stuff like that. But who knows? Who knows what Nintendo will put out? The big question, though, on the gaming journalists' minds, though, is will the chat be regulated? And I'm going to get to that in a second. Let me show you some highlights real quick on what's got E3 so controversial this year. Number one, like what happened to Cortana? Is this Cortana? I don't even think this is Cortana. She's traded in her body-painted suit or whatever the hell that was, where she pretty much had it all hanging out, now to look a little bit more frumpy and genderless or something. And then, of course, we have this. As you can see from this gentleman's pin here on his hat, it says ACAB. Now, what does ACAB mean? Well, you can see it right here. That's exactly what it means. But hey, you know, E3 taking political stances this year, especially when you consider some of the panels that they've been having during their virtual E3. E3 2021 brings diversity conversation to the video game industry's biggest stage. I don't know if this is the biggest stage anymore, but clearly the focus moving a little bit more towards politics, which is what all of the people that put this kind of stuff on want. This is why James journalism is in the toilet. But of course, here's the funny thing, and this is really what I wanted to make fun of a little bit, is apparently E3 Twitch chat has been miserable. Nearly every company involved has found a unique way to drop the ball. So, in a conference with a bunch of diversity panels and inclusion and wokeness panels and hosts that wear pins that say all cops are fatherless is the word I'm going to use. But the other word starts with a B. I'm pretty sure you know what that means. That's all good and well and okay. But if you want to criticize that, you want to say what's up with that, why you doing this, why you having panels about toxic male gamers, well, you can't say those things in the chat. They must be regulated. In fact, games journalists demand that those conversations be regulated. So the real funny thing here is basically they've been turning their chats off. All of these companies have been turning their chats off because a lot of the people that come in there, there's some trolling that goes on. Oh no, not trolling. Like this is an obvious troll, right? So here's one where they had a disabled gamers panel, and people in the chat were saying that sign language is gang signs, which is kind of a funny troll. That's a troll. That's not serious. But, you know, these people don't... There are no jokes. There are no edgy jokes allowed, number one. You can't make any kind of a joke. You see comedians getting canceled for jokes. So naturally, saying something like that is going to trigger a games journalist. And he's going to write an entire article about how companies are dropping the ball. They should have definitely been watching their chat harder. Oh, So this has led to Square Enix disabling the chat and allowing them only to use emotes. I didn't even know you could do that. Maybe that was over on Twitch. Twitch has a little bit more, you have a little bit more control over the chat in Twitch, whereas in YouTube, you can put it on subscriber mode and you can put it on members mode. Or no, not subscriber mode. You can put it on members mode. You can also do that on Twitch. And you can just shut the chat off. You can't put emote mode only on. I think that's something that's only available over on Twitch. But, you know, it's funny. You're allowed to have a guy wear this little pin here, but you're not allowed to come in and say back the blue in the chat. So only one side of the political conversation is allowed in the chat. The other half, not allowed at all. So you're not allowed to say back the blue. Apparently that's scandalous and shady. But you can wear pins that say ACAB. That's just fine. No problem here. So, of course, this is triggering journalists, triggering some weaker people in the gaming industry, where a lot of this is just people trolling or people, you know, saying the other side of a political conversation. Those things aren't allowed either. Of course, these journalists here at Kotaku and IGN all sitting around in their Starbucks with their $6 frappes complaining about these people. It's just how it is lately, and I don't think it's ever going to change. I think the game journalist the whole industry of games journalism is going to fold eventually, and they'll all try to go to YouTube and other platforms, and they'll try to push for change over there and stuff so that they can make that safer, you know. They're not actually making it safer. Less conversation, basically. So, kind of funny. I think some of the trolling is kind of funny, but for the rest of it, I mean, who really cares? It's a chat on the internet. It's always going to be full of trolls and people doing crazy stuff. It's just the internet. But of course, you know, it needs to change because a couple of people get a little offended. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out. Also, take a moment, make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. There's something going on right now, and they've been unsubscribing people. So just take a second and double check on that, and subscribe if you're new.
Excuse me, Mr. Vegeta, sir?
Get out, woman!